Tonight we're going to share a wonderful dream come true together. In 1955, an amazing man named Walt Disney dreamt of a magic kingdom.
Your attention, please. The Disneyland Limited, now leaving for a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom.
Remember, you lily-livered lovers! Bring up your white flag!
Hello and welcome back to Off Harbor in Maine. I'm Joel Covey and I'm joined by my close friends to discuss Disney theme parks and more. I'm joined by Beth.
Hey guys.
Matt.
Hey guys.
And Derek.
Hey guys.
Today on episode 19, we'll be going back to the happiest homecoming on Earth for Disneyland's golden anniversary. We'll reminisce and talk about the celebrations, attractions, and entertainment offerings from 2005. And before we discuss our much-needed drinks this evening, I just wanted to provide a friendly reminder that rating us or even a one-line review on Apple Podcasts truly does go a long way with helping us reach a wider audience. So I just wanted to kind of put that reminder up front here as well, just because we appreciate ratings and reviews. And we love to hear from you.
We appreciate you. So
Yes. Yeah, makes it real.
Thank you all so much. And for those that have already supported the show, by your kind words, we really appreciate it. So now, let's take some sips and find out what everyone is drinking today and what we like to call our virtual tropical lanai. So Beth, what do you have over there today?
Okay, so since we're talking about the golden anniversary of Disneyland, I concocted this beverage right here. I'm calling it a golden Malibu. I can't even say it. I can't even say what I'm calling it. I'm calling it a golden Malibu Mule. There we go. I got some edible gold flake that goes in drinks. It's like drink. I don't know if you guys can see it, but do you remember like that Vinique, that like wine that was like had the swirly, like it's basically this.
So stupid.
Yeah, it's the same stuff. You can put it in whatever drink you want. You just put the powder in your drink, and so now I have this beautiful like swirly, sparkly gold cocktail. So it's delicious and festive.
Did you order this online?
Yeah, I ordered it from Amazon.
Did you order it specifically for this?
Yes, I did. But I'm going to use it.
I love it.
I love you.
Awesome. What do you have over there, Matt?
I was going to do a Golden Road mango cart tonight, but then I realized I didn't have any.
Oh, no.
So instead of a Golden Road, we're having a Modelo.
A golden Modelo?
No, a Michelada Modelo, so it's pretty red.
Very red. Nice. Derek, what do you have?
Well, I was going to pop open a 50-year-old bottle of wine, but I didn't have a 50-year-old bottle of wine, so I settled for a Pilsner Urquell. It's a Czech beer. Really nice.
Is it balanced?
Beer. It's balanced. It's the original Pilsner from the Czech Republic. And I did have this in the Czech Republic, so it's...
Of
it's
course
nice
you did. Of course.
Derek's the most
I just had
cultured
to
of us
throw
all.
that in there.
Like when a vegan has to say they're vegan. I've been to the Czech Republic. No one asked.
Well,
Fun fact, though.
What's that?
Sorry, I was just going to say, fun fact, that the Czech Republic has really cheap, affordable beer. So if you're a beer lover and you want a place to visit, go to the Czech Republic. That's just my little
Handy
tidbit.
tip, a little travel tidbit for you.
Although if I'm already flying to the Czech Republic, I'm not too concerned about the price of my beer.
Right.
Well, I was really excited this week. I got a very good purchase. I decided to get it's this cloth bag that you can throw ice in. So it came with a mallet. So it gets crushed ice. And I've always been wanting to get some type of crushed ice machine or a way to make it better than just me getting my own hammer inside of a bag.
Hey, sometimes it's hard to get your own refrigerator if you're living in like an apartment or a, town.
I don't want regular ice cubes. I want crushed ice, for a tropical drink. So I was really excited. I got it, and
Let Joel have this.
Yeah, it was the best crushed ice I've ever made, and it works perfect. in a tropical nice. I made a Navy grog and a Mai Tai, and then today I got
tonight?
home.
Oh, I made them both tonight.
So tonight I got home and I ate too much pasta, and I didn't feel like moving around at all. So I'm having a beer. Just having a beer. It's a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. It's my go-to. I have it all the time, but it's my go-to.
Now that we had to listen to Christoph talk about his ice for the last 10 minutes.
You're all welcome. Well, with that, everybody, cheers.
Cheers. Episode 19, guys.
Here's the ice.
Not the one ice. Water ice.
Only yes, frozen water only.
Yes. Well, I told myself I did not want to talk about some of the questionable decisions that Disney has made over this past week. And I know if you're online at all, you've read some of the stuff that's been going on. For instance, the cancellation of the contract with Mears and the Magical Express for Disney World. So, of course, a lot of people are pretty upset about this, but I don't want to go into that. We could all debate on that going on. And
would we debate? I feel like
we
we're
wouldn't
all
debate.
On the same page.
Well, let's just say I feel like there's probably a lot more to the story than we know about, and I personally don't think it's just a decision. We just want to save money, so let's get rid of it. I think there's more to the story, but I could be wrong. I'm giving Disney too much credit. It's not like they haven't made decisions like that in the past, just strictly for money. So, by all means. But I did want to ask, with Disney making questionable decisions every so often, why is it that you think that we, as fans, not just us, but in general, their fan base, is so loyal, even when they get beat up all the time from the mouse by extremely expensive hotel rooms and seeing entertainment go away or whatever? What do you think it is?
Well, personally, I think that Disney has been extremely clever in marketing nostalgia. If you just play me part of Walt's speech, which I've heard a million times, but they've marketed it so well that if I hear it, like, I start to tear up. They have marketed the nostalgia so well that they just play a scene and you get all these feelings from when you went before, and it's hard to say, nah, I'm just going to pass this time, just because you have all those nostalgic feelings, and they know that, and they play on that.
Definitely. What do you think it is, Derek?
I think that, people get used to their routine and just that feeling, kind of like what Beth was mentioning about what to expect, like what kind of experience they want out of Disney. And so it's hard for them to like accept when things change, even though like with Disney knowing that, you'll still feel that same way ultimately. I mean, I guess with everything that they could have decided to change, I mean, if we are going to debate about that a little bit, I don't think that that's like the most damning thing to remove from the experience. And so, I just feel like it is one of those things. And I wonder if it is partly because of the whole budgeting, all of the things that have happened this past year. I'm not so bothered by that piece of it going away or changing.
I will be upset personally if they don't have some type of alternative solution shortly thereafter, or at least announced shortly thereafter they actually go away for the... I mean, yes, it's only been around for 15 years, the free service, so it's not
That's
like
still
it's...
a decent amount of time.
Oh, it's a long time.
Well,
Yeah.
That was the 50th anniversary.
Not even that, though. I mean, from my perspective, like, getting on that bus, that's when I knew. I mean, I took the plane ride there. I got all my crap at the airport.
Sure.
But when I stepped foot on that bus and they start playing the little video, like, that's when I was like, okay, it starts now. It starts at the airport. It wasn't just like you get down to a taxi stand and you have to wait for a taxi, or nowadays you call an Uber, wait for your Uber to come up. God knows how your Uber driver is going to be, Derek.
Derek, the Uber driver.
Derek, the terrible Uber picker.
You don't pick
picked.
Ubers.
No, because you picked Uber because we wanted to do a Lyft. So I will never let that.
Explain
I will
real
never,
quick what
Sponsor us,
happened.
Lyft.
okay, let's
Real quick.
So
brief.
on our last trip to Disney World, we used Lyft the entire trip. And Derek kept saying, oh, well, do you want me to get the Uber this time? And we're like, well, we've been doing Lyft. He's like, oh, well, I use Uber. So Derek requested an Uber. When this Uber picked us up, it was this like beat up ass minivan. And the driver was weird as hell.
Oh, not a minivan, like a Disney minivan.
No, it was a Dodge Caravan, and it was dirty. I remember I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'm like looking over. The cup holder has like crushed crackers, and
it was the family van.
Yeah, there was stuff on the walls, and I was just like, Derek never gets to call the Uber again. But anyway, I'm just saying. I think like for me, like the Magical Express, it's like, you know, once you get out of the airport, you get on the bus, your experience is gonna start off positive. You don't know how getting an Uber or Lyft, taking a taxi, getting another shuttle, you don't know how that's gonna go. And I think that's why I've always liked it, is I had the peace of mind knowing that as soon as I stepped off the airplane and got on that bus, my trip began. I didn't have to worry about anything else at that point. I didn't need to worry about getting from point A to point B because it was taken care of for me.
I was going to say, especially as a parent with a child in a car seat, having that there was so nice, because I'm already lugging my luggage, the kids' luggage, plus a stroller and all this like extra stuff. So knowing that, one, someone was going to get my checked luggage for me, so I didn't have to worry about that. Two, I didn't have to worry about packing a car seat, because that's another big cumbersome thing that you have to take with you. If you're going to take an Uber, you have to bring your own car seat. Most cases, they don't provide them for you. So it's another extra thing that you have to bring. So just knowing that I didn't have to worry about that. I wasn't going to have to take all of my stuff, plus the checked luggage, plus a car seat, and try to like flag down another way to get there, or even using a Mears, but still having to go out to a different location and still having to get all my luggage. Knowing that that was all taken care of and I didn't have to worry about that was a huge benefit, a huge plus to that service for sure.
Yeah, I think they're going to be the biggest affected, are going to be those families. For
sure. And that's such a great point, but you know, that isn't my experience, so I don't really know what to expect from that, Beth. But for me personally, since, you know, I hadn't been to Disney World since I was a kid, and coming back for the first time, I didn't have that sense of familiarity to the experience, and like expecting that from the bus ride. So for me, like getting on the bus, although it was great, it wasn't as magical as other people, you know, may have experienced it to be. And so for me, it was just simply that, a bus ride, you know, with other people there, versus, you know, being used to like an Uber or Lyft service, since we prefer Lyft, apparently.
We do.
You know, having your own transportation. To me, I really felt the most excited once we actually went through, you know, the sign of
you were
Walt
taking
Disney
your
World.
photos.
my
remember
photos and the video.
You're the only person up there.
Right,
But see,
I moved to the front.
At least you got that. You got to do that, because there was nobody else on the bus. Nobody
If you
cared.
were if you were in a Lyft, you can't walk anywhere.
You would have missed that picture.
Well, I mean, for me, I think why I wanted to bring this up is I feel like whenever I see this type of stuff, it does get me frustrated and upset that it's happening. But I think I always still remain a fan, because I really enjoy when Disney turns it around and realize, hey, we screwed this up. They double down on something new that's 10 times better. I'm not saying that's going to happen in this case, but I just mean like in general, like, look, they realize finally we got to go all out with Disneyland. We haven't had an e-ticket there for so long. We have the Star Wars franchise and stuff, and we need to do something big. And finally we got Rise of the Resistance, which for me was, they did it. They did something magical and impressive, and that really showed the Disney brand and Disney name and what they're capable of. And I mean, that's on a bigger scale, but then we do see the small things happen too every so often, where it's like, well, that's a really cool little entertainment offering that they did not need to do, that has either returned or something random in the parks where I'm like, yes, this is what it's about. So I think that's why.
No, like 100%. Because I mean, like when you want to say like, why do we stick around? I mean, because how many times have we gone through the whole, every time Disney raises the annual pass prices, you just see an onslaught on Twitter of, I'm never going again, I'm never buying my pass again, all that stuff. All these people come back, and it's, you can deny, you know, how upset you are with them, but ultimately you go back because it's something that you love that much, and it's something you love that much you're willing to, you'll let the past
Pony up the cash for
yeah,
it.
you'll let it go. Because I mean, there's so many things that have happened that I'm like, I hate this idea. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? But like you said, Disney has a way of where, yeah, you might be mad about the one thing that they did, but they're going to do something new that you're gonna forget about it. I mean, how many times have we seen stuff leave the parks that we were all so upset about? And to be honest, there's things now that I'm like, I don't even remember what they used to look like, because what they put in said is better than what was there.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, this is what I felt about with the 50th anniversary leading up to it, 2003 and 2004, and a little bit before then too. Disneyland was going through some rough times. I mean, yes, it was post 9/11, but around that time, the parks are falling apart. And that's why I wanted to kind of lead in with this, because we saw that turnaround. We saw Disney redeliver what we expect from them, and created something I thought was a really fantastic celebration, even though it was quintessential Disney celebration with your typical 18-month celebration that went on and on. But besides that, I thought they did a fantastic job, not just with attractions and entertainment offerings and new things coming to the park, but just plussing up and cleaning up the park.
They made it so pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
the bar was, as you said, really low to begin with. I mean, lights were out and paint was peeling, and it was definitely a low bar, but they really shined her up real good.
Yes. Well,
real pretty.
so let's get into it. Let's get into Disneyland's 50th anniversary.
No, you should have turned left at the pyramid.
Hey, we're gonna miss the anniversary. Maybe we should dog paddle, eh?
It's our biggest celebration in 50 years, and everybody is going to be there. The only one missing is you. Log on to find out more about all the new attractions coming this year to the happiest celebration on Earth.
So let's go back to 2002, 2003. We're in the middle of Cynthia Harris's reign over Disneyland. So Cynthia Harris, she was the president of Disneyland from 1999 to 2003. And this was during the same time as good old Paul Pressler. I think many of you are aware of him, but he was the president of Disneyland from 94 to 1999, and he was the chairman of Walt Disney Parks from 99 to 2002. They came from retail and continued on in retail after they left Disney, but you definitely saw it. And this is really the era when you started to really see, for instance, the stores on Main Street and different parts of the park go all into general merchandise that you could find everywhere. You kind of lost, and we still see that today, which is very unfortunate. Although I don't think some of the stuff they had before was money makers, but you lost some of the unique items that they had for sale, like an Adventureland Bazaar, that had original unique items there that just are no longer. And they really introduced that. But at the same time, they were so focused on making a quick buck and not really in it for the long haul, I feel like, because they really let the parks fall.
I was gonna say how you were saying about like how there was no more like unique merchandise. I remember like before, like you were saying, like Adventureland had like Adventureland specific merchandise and stuff. I mean, to this day, one of my favorite, and it's so dumb, little merchandise things that I ever bought. I still have a coffee cup that still has like the Tomorrowland logo on it from like 97, 98. And it says Tomorrowland with like a blue star field on it. I'm like, you don't see that kind of stuff anymore. The only stuff you would see inside like the Star Trader now would be Star Wars, or an IP. You wouldn't see like a Tomorrowland branded cup anymore.
No, and it's sad to see that stuff kind of go away. And I don't think we'll ever get fully back to where it was 70s and 80s and before, but at least we still have, Galaxy's Edge did it right. Unfortunately, they're already going away from being appropriately themed to not have like the land name on it and be Batuu and stuff and Black Spire Outpost. And I think they're already going away from being that way. But I think it's just important to understand kind of what was changing at this time. And this is when you started to see the paint like really falling apart on Main Street. It was very noticeable. I have a picture of the Golden Horseshoe that is just, the place is crumbling. It looks really awful. Almost to the point of like, right before you paint something, they would sometimes sand it down. But this was not, they were not about to repaint it. It was just
That's sad.
crumbling. And it was like, it was back when they were still doing a little bit more on the beige and the not the very bright and vibrant colors, which I'm okay with. Like, I liked Main Street not with the vibrant colors that they have today. I kind of like the muted colors from, at least from I know from the 80s and 90s, but it didn't look any better with having them fade at the same time.
Yeah.
I thought that was really important just to understand where we were at this time. So fortunately, we had Paul Pressler ended his reign and Cynthia left as president, and we had good old Matt Ouimet came on board just in time.
What a guy. Like,
he's good.
He was the kind of person who you would often see walking through the park and talking to guests, asking them how they enjoyed their day and what they liked. We were lucky to meet him a couple times, and he was just always so genuine and seemed like he was really there and really liked Disneyland, which was so nice to see.
And he wasn't doing like photo ops and stuff. He was actually out and about talking to people, doing the picking up trash. And I'm sure some of it was so he could be seen, of course, but that's what a leader should do anyway. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to see him. I met him in Downtown Disney. I know you guys have met him too. And he was just so kind. And I think he really understood Walt's legacy and really trying to keep that up. He ended up leaving. He did a couple things in between where he's at now, but he's now the executive chairman of Cedar Fair Entertainment Company, so overseeing all of Cedar Fair theme parks, which there's 12 parks. So he's doing pretty well for himself.
Good for you, Matt.
Yeah,
we met,
and also at this time,
and you too, Matthew.
The current Walt Disney Parks and Resorts president at that time was Jay Rizzullo. A lot of people weren't huge fans of him. I felt like he was very business, and maybe he didn't have the right, I wouldn't say vernacular.
He didn't have the charm people were looking for.
Right. But regardless, he got some good stuff in there. So the 50th anniversary parades and attraction would later be announced on the stage in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle on May 5th, 2004. So this was a year before the celebration. And there was a year later, the big 50th ceremony would occur, commencing the start of the 18-month-long celebration. And I think all of us were there on that day, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did a great job with this event. And keep in mind, this is not the July 17th anniversary event. They did a nice big thing on that day too, but this was really the pony show they were doing, right? And the day before,
special.
May 4th of 2005, they actually closed the park down for all of media. So park was actually closed. Disneyland was closed. California Adventure was open. I'm sure there was still some people upset, even though Disney did their best to try to tell people they were going to be closed that day. But it was truly reserved just for media on that day, so they could experience everything and get the word out on all the news outlets and so forth. So let's talk the 50th anniversary ceremony that occurred on May 5th. So this is available on YouTube. I wouldn't say you need to go watch it, but it was pretty impressive. The opening, they ended up airing it, I believe, on Wonderful World of Disney later. It had a really well done, with a lot of CGI intro for this that I thought that was pretty impressive for the time, especially for 2005. But nonetheless, it opens with Leanne Rimes singing.
Wait, was the CGI thing? Was it the commercial?
No, this is different. So this opens with Leanne Rimes singing Remember When.
Oh,
and
God.
I am a fan of the song.
I love it. It, especially now that we cannot go to the parks right now, like listening to this song made me cry. I was like, I do remember when.
And she did a really good job. So kudos to her. I thought that was a well performed.
Well, kudos to Leanne Rimes, who is normally a country star, getting props from Beth.
It's true. It's true.
Hey, I'm no country fan either. And
I love that song. I love how she sings it. I'm a big fan of that and her version. I mean, her singing of it.
And something that I think is kind of important. I don't know if this was done throughout the whole show or ceremony, but they did have a live 70-piece orchestra playing over at Plaza Gardens. I thought that was kind of neat that they had that there. Also, right after that, we had Bob Iger come out. At that time, he was the CEO-elect. They even announced him as CEO-elect Bob Iger.
So weird.
Even though Michael Eisner comes out later and is still the CEO, which was some troubling times for Eisner. But so Bob Iger, he says his little speech, and then you have Art Linkletter come out. He is
adorable
and old, very very old.
Yes.
I feel like he said maybe some a little off-color things. Just he was, you can just tell he's old, but he was having a good time. He for those
I mean, if you don't know, yeah,
he did the opening of Disneyland in 1955.
Yeah, so he made a little joke about how he'd been waiting 50 years to be invited back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They liked him that much that it took him 50 years to return. But he does a great job. And then CEO Michael Eisner comes out. It's the end of his reign because he actually left on September 30th, 2005. But I thought it was funny when they announced him, he full on runs to the stage. He's excited, or he just wants to get this over with. But he
one or
runs
the
up
other.
there. Yeah. And then he announces,
There's one beloved Disney tune that has always carried us from one generation to the next with a message of hope and inspiration. Here performed this classic. It is my great pleasure to introduce Grammy Award-winning vocalist and former Disney Mouseketeer, Christina Aguilera.
she did fine, except it was funny because when she came out, she started singing "When," and then she had to stop herself because
she was excited.
Yeah, she wanted to run out there too and get it over with.
So
Anarchy.
I will say that, yeah, I remember her. I don't know if it. I mean, it's hard to say that she gets nervous, but she seemed like she was trying really hard to sell the song "When You Wish Upon a Star." But just the fact that she came really kind of made this seem like a significant event, like for Disney.
Yeah, it felt
that sort of celebrity status.
Yeah, that I mean, especially at that time, like she was still pretty high up there. I mean, she is
high
now
up there on the
know,
pop,
yeah,
on the pop charts. Yeah,
on the pop, yeah, and so
Pop Tarts.
The pop charts.
Strawberry Pop Tarts. But yeah, to have her there, I agree with Derek. It just kind of made it feel like this is a big thing. This is I mean, we all felt it anyways because 50 years just seems such a milestone. But this really kind of like put a pin in it. It was a big event.
Yeah.
And then following Christina, they introduced good old Julie Andrews. I don't care how many times I see her come out.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say I don't care for her.
No.
We were about to throw down.
I was going to say, I don't care how many times she comes out on stage or whatever, or I hear her voice. She gave me goosebumps. Even though I'm just watching this on YouTube, I still got goosebumps seeing her come out.
She is so damn classy. She is so, like, always elegant, always so poised. Oh.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I am so happy to be part of this wonderful evening. Who knew that this visionary man with pixie dust in his pocket and a sparkle in his eye would change the life of this young 27-year-old forevermore? But listen, he's blessed so many people in the world by giving us the great gift of Disneyland. No matter how old you are, no matter what language you speak, Disneyland is and always will be the place where imagination comes alive, the impossible seems real, and feelings indescribable. Disneyland the only place where 50 years old feels so young.
I just gotta say, like, I was completely starstruck. Just the fact of knowing, as a kid, I remember Mary Poppins, and to think that she was there, like right in front of our faces, like talking about what Disneyland meant to her, and just the fact that like everything that she was tied into. And I know we're gonna get into that, but for me, I think that just was like the cherry on top for the event. Like, of course, seeing Leanne Rimes and the CEOs and Christina Aguilera, but Julie Andrews really made the event for me.
Well, and she was the perfect person to come out of that moment.
Yes.
She has the direct ties with Walt Disney, worked with, during that whole era, she was the quintessential choice to come out and do this little bit.
And she was the ambassador, right? She was considered the ambassador for the 50th.
Or at least the honorary ambassador.
Honorary,
Right.
Yeah.
So she does come out and she announces everyone is coming home and continues the famous commercials of the time, introducing the celebration. So all the characters in the commercial start arriving. So they kind of play on it of those that maybe don't know these 50th commercials. They had pretty much every different character coming as though they were getting ready to come to Disneyland, right? You see Matt's favorite character, Stitch, come out on his motorcycle. Lead the way.
Why were they so all in on Stitch?
They were really trying to make it happen.
I don't get it. Stop trying to make Stitch happen.
It's just like them. They were trying to make Duffy happen in the States because he was so popular for
But
Tokyo.
Duffy's cute.
Yeah, I love Duffy, but he just wasn't.
Duffy doesn't burp a hot
here.
dog in my face.
No. Well, anyway, so Stitch comes out, followed by a ton of different characters. So they all come out, and then a kid comes running down from the drawbridge saying, wait, please tell me you haven't started without me. It was actually a nice moment. It's kind of fun. Cute kid. He was kind of, I guess, representing the children of the world coming in from
Yeah, I was
Fantasyland.
trying to figure out if that kid was somebody. Was
I
he?
don't think so. I felt like he was just supposed to be some kid.
Going back to the commercial real quick, I was trying to find in my notes, but I apparently didn't write it down. But I thought it was, I understand why, but in the commercial, you keep on seeing Iago and the genie flying on the magic carpet.
Yeah.
And the genie does not speak the whole time. It was so awkward. Like, I get it. I know like why, but like they just kept on having Iago speak and the genie's just like weirdly gesturing with his hands the whole time.
Where you would think of anybody, the genie would be very vocal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I feel like they could have figured out a better way. I don't know, but I felt like they kept on showing up, and he kept on being silent. I was like, this is weird.
Making us hate Iago even more.
I know. Geez, shut up, Bert.
So the kid and Julie Andrews say together, "Welcome home." This big moment, and the 50th emblem on the castle is revealed, and more characters come out. I mean, there's a lot of characters going on here. And that's followed by the Disneyland band coming through the archway of the castle, and then fireworks, and the birds are being released. Just your quintessential, kind of grand opening moment in front of the castle.
And it felt grand. Like, it felt truly grand. My heart swelled a little bit then.
It's not like the biggest moment ever, but it was the right size moment for the event, and it didn't need to be any more or any less. I just felt like they did a good job on this. And then they had your good old photo op at the end, but it's kind of how it ends. So that was the event for May 5th, and then they had another event, of course, for the actual birthday on July 17th. So on that day at 10 a.m., they had a very similar kind of ceremony, I would say, out front of the castle with some of the same people. I mean, of course, there's Bob Iger there, Michael Eisner. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger came out, as well as it was a nice little moment with Diane Miller, one of Walt's daughters. And then they were kind of broadcasting this throughout the park, so they had big screens throughout the park that you could go watch this because they knew it was going to be too busy on Main Street, but also because at 4:45 p.m. they had a Walt Disney dedication moment. So that's where they replayed the welcome speech, at the same time he did it on the grand opening of Disneyland. So that was a pretty cool event, just to kind of see
touching.
that happen. And they had,
I cried, of course.
And they had the actual screen, I think, in Town Square too, where
they had one in Town Square.
Right?
I think that's where I think that's what we saw was in Town Square, and then we watched the opening ceremony from Tomorrowland. And as Matt reminded me, we went after that and had our breakfast cupcakes at Pizza Port.
Not just one. We had a couple.
We had several free 50th celebration birthday cakes.
How funny.
For breakfast.
Well, speaking of breakfast, just below, it talks about the ceremony at 10 a.m. and the dedication at 4:45. Then it says special breakfast menus. Get ready for the big day ahead with a delicious breakfast from one of these dining locations. At Blue Ribbon Bakery. Oh, I miss Blue Ribbon Bakery.
It was good.
Carnation Cafe, Plaza Inn, Village House, Club Buzz, Riverbell Terrace, and Rancho del Zocalo.
We could not tell you what they were because we did not eat there. We had free cupcakes.
No idea. I'm sure there's maybe something
That's
here.
all we needed.
Yeah.
Some sugar to get through the day.
So going back to the first kind of grand ceremony or whatever, the first celebration, they talked about all the attractions coming to the parks around the globe. So here's the 50th attractions and entertainment offerings that came for the 50th. So in Disneyland, they had the Parade of Dreams, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And then they had it's kind of the 50th. It debuted a little bit beforehand. This was the Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. I don't really consider the 50th offering, but it did open beforehand. They had the Block Party Bash Parade over at California Adventure. They had the first 50 Magical Years movie that played over at Lincoln. I would prefer just to have Lincoln.
I rewatched it.
I did too.
It was enjoyable. You didn't like it? We'll talk about it.
Well, I think I watched it a lot for some reason.
Yeah, so did I, because it was a delight.
Can we talk about the set? It's so weird how they filmed the whole thing on a fake Main Street.
Yeah, that was very strange.
Yeah.
With no curbs.
No, they had the curbs.
Oh, they did have the curbs?
Yeah, the curbs. No, they were definitely there, but it was just so obvious that it was. Well, it wasn't so obvious, but if you're looking for it, you know it's a set. But it was filmed in front of a fake Main Street cinema, in the Magic Shop with Steve Martin. And then there was, of course, Remember, Dreams Come True.
Yeah.
Best fireworks show
Best
ever.
favorite
In Disneyland.
Ever anywhere.
It was fine.
Quick side note: when you guys mentioned the Blue Ribbon Bakery, I don't know why, and it's exactly how I said before. Like when things have gone away and I just don't remember. I couldn't remember where the Blue Ribbon Bakery was. I had to fucking Google search it, and I'm like, why can't I? Literally was like, I cannot remember what this looks like. I'm like, I remember what like Starbucks used to look like. Why can't I remember where the Blue Ribbon Bakery was? And then I realized it was like the indoor area of Carnation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
they completely they gutted
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, I was like, and then I
different.
found pictures and I was like, oh my god, how did I forget this?
How did you?
How did I
How
forget?
could you?
I mean, we don't need another bakery, but
Yeah,
I like
it's
that
one of those
damn
things that's
bakery.
been gone.
It's good.
It's
Yeah.
just been gone
Cinnamon
for
rolls.
such a long time now that I'm like, oh, I forgot what it looked like.
Yeah. Let's go over to Disney World. So each of the 4 parks gets an attraction that's imported from around the globe. Plus, they had a unique attraction just for Disney World. That's kind of how they were spinning everything, as though Disneyland was gifting things and other parks were gifting things to another park. It's really just them copying.
Yeah, I was kind of upset as a Disneyland fan that all the parks were celebrating. Like, I was kind of annoyed, but
I was too. I was like,
Were you?
it should
Okay.
be Disneyland's
but
only.
I mean, they were like framing it as Disney Parks' 50th anniversary. I was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
This is ours.
No,
You guys.
it needs to be Disneyland's.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
whatever. It happened.
I mean, we're not going to be celebrating Disney World's 50th.
No, we're not getting Jack for that. we're not going to be
We're not
open,
gonna be open.
probably.
I say, but to be fair, I don't think most of the world is getting jacked for.
I wasn't that bothered by that though. I felt it was kind of special because they were still paying homage to Disneyland.
You're a more generous person than the rest of us are. We're all petty people.
I would have
selfish.
liked some of the Florida's castle, the Cinderella castle decor. I did like that.
You want the giant mirror?
Yeah,
The mirror was
glass
cool.
pane
That
or
was
whatever,
really cool.
and it changed from day to night, right? Mm-hmm. Magic Kingdom, they had the Cinderella-bration. They were advertising like this big thing coming. I think that was a Tokyo Disneyland show in front of the castle, but they brought it to Magic Kingdom. This is when Soarin' arrives at Epcot. and it was still soaring over California.
And I will say though, one thing I did like when they brought Soarin' over there, because I thought they were just gonna be like Soarin' from the Disneyland Resort. They actually made sure, and I remember seeing like the banners, and it said like from Disney's California Adventure, and I'm like, good. At least that part got some sort of recognition.
Some recognition.
That was nice. Yeah. Over at Hollywood Studios, which was then Disney's MGM Studios, the Lights, Motors, Action Extreme Stunt Show, which came
Matthew
from
loved
Disneyland
it.
Paris.
I miss it.
I liked it. It was fun.
I loved it.
They started getting a little bit too much into the adding in like the new Love Bug. Not Love Bug.
I loved when the Love Bug split in half.
That was cool.
That was cool.
I liked it the first time. Like I enjoyed it the first time, but it was not something that I could see myself like repeating often. Like the second time I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm done. One time was good and enjoyable, and then that was it. But I guess that's why it's in Florida and not a Disneyland thing, because we get bored of things too fast here.
Yeah. Well, it's gone now.
Yeah, we don't have to worry
Make
about
way
it.
for Batu. Over at Animal Kingdom, this is where they had their original coming. It was Expedition Everest, which I think was probably the best part of the 50th personally, or the best new attraction that came. I'm just a big Expedition Everest stan, so it's
good.
Me and Beth got to do that during cast member previews.
With the Yeti.
When the Yeti
with the working
worked.
Yeti.
The working Yeti.
It was amazing.
We saw
the Yeti hand
in
move.
all his glory.
Shaking
I
his
stood
fur.
out in front of in front of Everest for hours, multiple days on a vacation to try to get in it, because they were doing cast member previews, and I was with somebody that was a cast member at that point too, but over in Disneyland, and never got on. I was kind of disappointed.
That's sad.
Yeah, we had luck with Mission Space, which I know is.
Did you have luck?
Yeah,
excited about. It was exciting the first time, especially because it was a soft opening.
Speaking of luck.
Yeah, oh god. Yeah, speaking of luck, they also were big on advertising Lucky the dinosaur.
Was he there for any amount of time?
He
I
was.
loved Lucky. Like I loved Lucky when he used to walk in Hollywood and do his little thing. It was really cool.
And in front of Golden Dreams.
Dreams.
Yeah, just in front of weird random spots. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
But it was also, it felt like a test. Like it felt like a, here's the thing, we're
well, I
testing
think it was
out.
supposed
Wasn't
to be
it a
test.
Yeah,
it was. Like
That's-
a new walking figures or animatronics that can be kind of
I'm just
work
curious. I'm just curious how it ended up. Like, was it a big thing over there? Like, were people excited about it? Was it?
Who knows? I can't imagine people being really excited for that.
And those never really went anywhere either. Like, after we saw, like, Lucky the Dinosaur.
Didn't they have the Muppets one for a while?
They had the Muppet
Muppets
one,
Lab.
and we've never seen anything
And
like
Push. Don't forget about Push.
Well, Push was before them, even.
That's true.
Push
that.
was
Push was a
the
trash
trash
can.
can.
I feel like Push
On top of
lasted
a
the
golf cart.
longest.
He definitely did, and he's made it through many different lands and coast to coast.
Yeah.
He was even in California
charming.
Adventure,
It's around.
Grizzly area, Tomorrowland.
Push was just the precursor to Wally.
That's where the idea came from.
It was the Wally beta.
Then let's go over to Tokyo Disney Resort. We'll start at Tokyo Disneyland, where they got the rock and roll event, Rock Around the Mouse, a blast to the past, as though they're celebrating the 50s when Disneyland opened. That's how they try to play it. It was pretty silly. But
I don't remember this at all.
I don't at all.
Obviously I didn't see it in person, but
they played it in the ceremony when they were going from park to park or resort to resort, and they were talking to, I think it was maybe their ambassador from Tokyo, but they were talking about the rock and roll event.
I wonder how they liked it. If you're
They get new
Japanese
events every
and
6
listening to
months.
this, I know.
I mean, it was just probably another new event, no big deal for them.
They'll probably
Then-
have a huge, like, once COVID's over, they'll probably have a huge goodbye COVID celebration. With a new show, new lagoon show, fireworks.
Is there like a costume like of a COVID?
It's just gonna be
virus?
fantastic.
It's long as they blast it with the water
No,
cannon.
it's gonna be Phantasmic, but instead of the dragon, it's gonna be the giant coronavirus. And
I'm into this. Yes.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Mickey gets it with his sword. That's good.
But it's not a sword.
It's a syringe.
It's a syringe.
Yes, yes.
And there's a
Stick it
water
in.
stream coming out.
I think we're onto something.
I think so.
Then across the way at Tokyo Disney Sea, they got Raging Spirits, which was their first looping coaster in a Tokyo park. It's just a clone of their Indiana Jones attraction from Disneyland Paris with a re-theme. So they have a coaster that's Indiana Jones themed over in Disneyland Paris, and then they basically cloned that and had
Does
a
it
really
have
cool...
a theme there at all?
The Raging Spirits?
Yes. Is that a theme of something, or is it just?
There's spirits in the air.
Okay, but
Raging.
it's not a. It's not
Water
an
and fire.
IP theme.
It's a
to
non-IP.
anything. Okay.
It's
Thank goodness.
just part of the Lost
Just
River
pure
Delta
fun.
area, I think. Over at Disneyland Paris, they got Space Mountain Mission 2, which some people like and some people definitely do not like that version. And they got a Wishes celebration. It's different than Florida's, but is a Wishes fireworks show. Disneyland Paris is a lot more low-level fireworks. I think because of some mandates. It could be incorrect, but it was a dramatic combination of glittering fireworks and Disney music set to light up the skies over Sleeping Beauty Castle. And that was every night from July 9th through August 28th. So very short span.
Yeah, that's tiny.
I don't understand. And then it was, they talk about how it was inspired by the show from Walt Disney World in Florida and their wishes.
They just really wanted the song, and that's it, right?
I love
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah.
Just like we got
Wishes. Yeah.
with Remember.
Oh, I remember. Remember.
Remember
Do you
when?
remember when?
I do remember. Don't make me cry.
And then we'll go to Hong Kong Disneyland, which
we won't.
actually
We won't go there because it doesn't open.
it wasn't
till
open.
September
Yeah.
12th.
So that's opening September 12th, which they're really pulling it's the ultimate tribute because it's really follows the original Disneyland. It's very similar in a smaller park. So it's really,
beautiful castle. Then
Then it's beautiful castle.
You can still see it.
if you look
It's still there
hard,
with different colors.
push through.
Also, at the Disney Cruise Line, they announced their first ever West Coast itineraries. They're going to the Mexican Riviera. So what else happened during the 18-month celebration?
So much.
Yeah, well, we also had Turtle Talk with Crush opened. It did originally open in Florida, and then it came to Disneyland, and that opened in July of 2005. And it was not nearly as successful as Florida's, because Florida's was having hour-plus long waits, and Turtle Talk you could just
You know
walk right
why?
up to
It's
in
because-
Florida, or in California Adventure.
And I think it's because here, like, surfer dudes are not.
Unique.
So, yeah, like, okay. My
Well-
next door neighbor talks like that. Who cares?
Okay, but Florida, are turtles unique, really? So
Well,
trade-off.
they are by Disney World.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Oh, this is a big one, guys. We got Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. Whoop whoop. I mean, I like
Mike
it.
and Sully to the Rescue opened January 23rd, 2006.
It smells
Yay.
delicious in that ride.
I still love
Well,
that ride.
they don't
Me
do that
too.
anymore.
It still smells like
It
ginger
still
when you go
smells
through.
like, when you
Yeah.
go through Harry
I don't remember the
Houses,
last time
it
I smelled
always
that.
smells
Oh,
like
it
ginger.
smells like. Oh, you
don't
don't have a
think-
child who takes you through every time. It smells like ginger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
ginger.
I would say I don't think
Um,
I've ever not had it smell like
Yeah,
ginger.
and the bathroom smells like
Soap.
bathroom cleaner. Yeah,
Deodorant?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
I feel
delightful.
like I haven't gotten the
ride.
ginger in a long time, but I guess I'm wrong.
Okay,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it opens, well, I'll go back and ride it and smell the ginger.
And also that reopened, which I totally forgot about. Space Mountain reopened in July
it was
of
closed
2005.
for so long. It was closed for what, 3
That
years
was
before
exciting.
that?
2 years. It closed April 10th, 2003.
I don't understand how you forgot about this. This was so exciting.
Well, I mean, and I was, working there at that time too. So it's just, I don't know why I forgot about that one. But yeah, it was closed for so long. And, maybe I forgot about it because it reopened. It's essentially the same thing. They had to completely redo, they
It was
rebuilt
not the
track.
same thing.
It's not just
They
the same
painted
thing.
it white again from its ugly
It
ass
was white
brown
before
color.
it closed.
They repainted it white.
The brown was kind of cool, though.
No, shut up, Derek. I love you, but you were wrong. And
Actually, no, correction. It
Oh,
was
no.
painted It was painted white while it was closed. Because
They were repainting it.
I'm looking at my aerial photo right now.
No, you're
welcome.
right. I remember because it was right after I moved here and I got really excited. I saw the top part was painted white and I drove down to Disneyland just so I could see it turning white.
It says March 29th, 2004. The mountain's only halfway painted. It's still
That must have been when I drove down.
You liar.
They changed the music.
Yeah, yes, there was definitely things they completely redid the queue.
The queue was all changed.
Much better.
Don't say it was a big thing.
But if you close your eyes,
no,
it's the same thing.
You listen to it; it's completely different.
Don't ever close your eyes on Space Mountain.
And
close your eyes and cover your ears. Yeah.
Neil Armstrong rededicated it. So how dare you, sir? Was the soundtrack better before? Yes, but
me and Beth were there.
Yeah. We were there. We saw Neil. He's basically our best friend now.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's go over some other Disneyland items. Just kind of random things they did for the celebration. Did you want to talk about the castle, Beth?
Yes, I do. Let me scroll to my castle notes. Okay, so they redid the castle. Well, they didn't redo it. They repainted it and refreshed it. They covered it with the ugliest blue scrim you have ever seen in your whole life. It would never fly today. Like, do you remember when they repainted the castle? They had this like big, beautiful like wooden fence around it that was like painted with concept art. It was. I mean, it wasn't the castle, but it was still nice to look at.
Yeah.
This was ugly. It was this ugly blue scrim that had like a couple of like cardboard cutouts.
The cards, right?
It was the cards.
Repainting. It was so ugly. But when it was done, it was beautiful. And it had 5 crowns on it. So each of the turrets had its own crown on it. And the crowns represented something different. So they had the 5 crowns on each of the turrets. It was not quite representing each decade, but fairly close. So the first one had golden ears for the years 1955 to 1960, which represented the Mickey Mouse Club. And then they had a crown featuring rockets that was representing 1961 to 1971 Tomorrowland. But it was called, the crown had a name for some reason. It was called A Rocket Ride to Imagination and Beyond, which is a long name, but that's what it was called. They had one for 1972 to 1994, and that features the Blue Fairy, representing the time that she reigned over the Main Street Electrical Parade. They had one for 1995 to, I guess, 2005, which was the Eye of Mara to celebrate Indy, and then the one that representing 2005, which was Tinkerbell sprinkling her pixie dust all over the park to celebrate the 50th anniversary. And all of them were so unique and detailed. They were beautiful. I actually found a set of plates based on, and I was like, oh, why don't I own those? They were so beautiful. But they were all really unique and detailed. If you guys can find pictures of them, they were really pretty.
And how nice is it that they weren't just princess crowns?
Yes, they went deep. I mean, they were like really interesting. The rocket one was super cool. It had like the TWA style rocket going straight up. It was really cool. The Eye of Mara, like that was that's when I got my first annual passes right after that attraction opened. So I really liked that one a lot. But it was really cool.
And just think about it. 10 years later, they put on plastic cake toppers for the 60th anniversary. Remember those giant diamond dome things?
Would you remember the ones they put up and then they removed?
Kind of bad.
Yeah, the first ones they put up terrible.
Oh, I don't think I remember that. I was
they
forgot everything.
Plastic.
It was so bad. Somebody must have been like, we can't keep it. We got to take them down. So they were only up for like a few days, and then they changed the look of it.
Okay, I think I missed that. I just remember the later one.
I'm sure they looked great in concept, but just ugly plastic on top of the turret. It was not good. So also they had the entry floral, of course, was redone just like they do for every celebration.
It was nice.
This was...
Anyway, I know you love your flowers, Joel.
You know it. They had the huge 50th logo, which replaces the Mickey floral. They had a big Mickey topiary out front, kind of waving his hand over it. And then I think it was like the first time they really did the big swirl in front that went across from one side to the other, where before they had a bunch of flowers on the sides, but instead they had kind of a designed swirl going through the center floral. And also they had the golden lamp post that lined Main Street with these looking back, there were pretty ugly gold planters that were underneath the lanterns as well, and of course had plants in them. And each one of those planters had a 50th emblem in them, which is part of the 50 hidden 50th logos that I'll talk about.
Some of them weren't very hidden, but yes.
They're not really hidden. Some of them were not hidden at all. And then of these, of course, took up like 10 or plus of those 50.
Did they count, though?
They did.
They did, yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
I reviewed it, and I was kind of disappointed that those counted as the part of the 50. Then they also had the golden vehicles, right, at all the original attractions that opened in 1955. This includes even Storybook Land Canal Boats, even though it was called something else when it originally opened. But they all had, let's go through them real quick. So you had the horse-drawn carriage. You had the horseless carriage, which is basically just a Main Street vehicle. But that was painted gold, and they were painted well.
They were, I was going to say, they were like a pretty shade of gold. Like sometimes
They're
they
classy.
it can go smooth, it can go too bronze, but they all looked really pretty. Like they did a good job.
They weren't garish. Yeah.
No, they looked elegant. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you also had the Main Street Cinema even got some gold accents at the entry and on the signage. The Peter Pan ship, one of those vehicles, got the treatment. These were some of these were placed outside, so you could take photos in them, which was very smart. So maybe, hopefully, this I think helped eliminate people going up to the front saying, "I want that one."
I want the gold.
Yeah, even though like Dumbo did have one, they had
one
both,
outside, right? Yeah,
they had both.
Yeah, one outside and one in. Yeah.
Then also Mr. Toad, King Arthur's Carousel,
and they had Jingles. They had one out front, and then Jingles was also painted gold.
Yeah, it was smart. And then they had Snow White's Scary Adventure, got a gold accent around the entrance. Casey Jr., one of the trains, was painted gold. The teacups, they had one like on the attraction and also sitting outside.
And that one's still there. They just repainted it.
Pink.
A regular, pink,
A regular one. Then you had the Autopia one had in the former's Winter Circle shop, which was now the queue for Submarine Voyage or for Finding Nemo. But they had one there, and then they also had multiple cars that were on the track that were also painted gold. Mark Twain got a lot of gold accents throughout the boat.
It looked really nice.
Yeah, that was classy as well. And then they had Jungle Cruise, of course, had a golden boat as well.
And you didn't mention, but a Storybook Land, which you did talk about, also had, they painted the ticket booth in front, the lighthouse gold as well.
Mm-hmm. It was cool because it was like different shades of gold for
kind of going up the sides. Yeah,
it was rings of gold.
It was. I thought it was such a good way to represent the 50th and the golden anniversary. I feel like gold can sometimes look so like overpowering and just look really gaudy, but they just found a way to make it look really classy, and it made things feel really special. You kind of had this little highlight over things that have been there for so long and were such a big part of the tradition of Disney. It just kind of like highlighted them and made them shine.
And keep in mind, well, they had these accents throughout the park, but it wasn't like anything was, like you were saying, too gaudy. So you have golden lampposts going down Main Street, but it wasn't like you had all these giant banners and everything else just like screaming at you, it's the 50th. Yeah, you had some 50th logos here and there and some other things we're talking about, but it was just really accenting the park and letting the park shine itself. Like we were talking about with making sure everything was painted well. They did so much work leading up to it just to make sure it was looking tip-top shape.
One thing that we didn't talk about that was added for the 50th was the piranhas on Jungle Cruise.
Oh, that was for the 50th, or that was the same time?
It was the same time. Because I know, because that's when we met. That's when we met. When we got off, he was there, and he was like, "Oh, how did you like it?" He was like super excited to hear.
I remember that.
Oh,
yeah.
Funny.
That's exactly why.
And what all was it also? That's when they also added the giant pumps, or like the
explosions.
The explosions,
and they updated Trader Sam, I believe, during that time period as well. Yeah.
It's really unfortunate they never got those piranhas to really work well. Like they continued on for a while.
I thought they worked well.
What rights were you writing on, Joel?
I feel like they worked probably up until like right before the park closed before COVID.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I went on that so many times where they went through and it just wasn't working.
I feel like
I remember they had a closure and people were so excited. Great, they can fix the piranhas.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I
feel
feel like
always working.
I feel like even up until about a year ago, they were still working.
They
I mean,
even
a
had
year
to
ago
switch the
before.
direction of them
Yeah,
I feel like
because they were
that
going
was
the wrong.
main
Just getting
issue.
people
My-
too wet.
my last trip to Disneyland, you were with me, Joel, and we rode on that ride, and they worked.
They worked
The
every
last
time
time?
I've ridden them.
Yeah, in March.
I feel like they towards the end there they were just going right through.
No, I feel
Right
like
through
there's been a
what?
the boat.
Boat?
No, they were going right through without them working.
No, it
All right.
worked. Okay.
Those that are listening, I want you to correct me and tell me
We all want
how
you to
were those
correct it.
piranas doing.
Those who are
Already
listening,
correcting.
because 3 out of 4 isn't good enough.
Okay, well, let's move on to the 50th logos. Okay, so we had many of these, as we were talking about, were throughout, like on the lampposts.
The hidden 50s? Is that what you're talking about? The hidden
Yeah.
50s?
Mhm.
Okay.
And there were some really cool ones. We're not going to go and talk about all of them, but some of our favorites. For instance, like I really like the Adventureland one outside the Tiki Room, just because it was like a wooden looking. It was probably made out of resin, but it was just kind of put in place and themed appropriately to the Tiki Room.
I love the one on the Observatron. It was like one of the satellites.
Yeah,
I
It
love
was,
that
it
one.
was so big, like it was not hidden at
That
all.
was my favorite one.
No.
But I
That
love
was-
that one, and that was when it worked too. So
It was still
still
yeah,
spin
it
and-
still worked and had the music, and you had
Yes.
this giant thing spinning.
that was really cool.
What else?
The Haunted Mansion Spiderweb, which was not there all the time because they removed it
I don't
for
remember
Haunted
that
Mansion
one.
Holiday.
Oh,
You don't.
Oh,
It
because they
wasn't.
removed it.
Yeah, it wasn't gold. It was black, but it was a black Mickey ears and a 50 made out of spider webs that hung right in the front of the Haunted Mansion. And yeah, they did take it down for Haunted Mansion Holiday, but it was there for a while.
Yeah, and then that Tom Sawyer Island one that was kind of on what is that? Not Lafitte's. Is it Lafitte's? But in front of the
Lafayette?
The mill that's on the
mill. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had like these buckets that were kind of put up on the wall and aged, painted to look like they were been there forever. But it was
It was nice.
fit
And
in really well.
they had the really big like gold medallion that was over New Orleans Square that kind of like hung with the
Oh yeah.
Yes.
over the over New Orleans Square.
Well, I mean,
The
they were adding them to everything because
They were all over.
Some of the
The
attractions.
Splash Mountain one.
The Splash Mountain was put into the rock work.
Well, remember
crazy.
That was really
the
cool.
Columbia had one on the front and the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. And the one on the Mark Twain, which was looked so classy, just a little nice little one right there. So
I really
good.
like the Astro Orbiter one though. Like
That one was cool.
That one was cool, like the planet that kind of moved
yeah,
around.
I mean,
yeah.
because the planet looks cool in and of itself, but the fact that they incorporated the 50th logo into it,
I think.
Yeah, and they added the ears onto the actual planet that's
yeah,
on the arm.
that was awesome.
Outside of like the Observatron one, I think my other favorite one was the and it was because it was actually really small, was that they replaced Mr. Toad's eyeglass.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a
with
good
that.
one.
So it was really tiny, but if you knew where to look, you'd see it.
Yeah, so
That was
right
a
out
good
front of
one.
the attraction of Mr. Toad, if you look up, you have Mr. Toad up there, and he has his eyeglass or monocle, I guess he's holding.
Yeah.
But it said they replaced it with a 50th logo and the Mickey ears, and it was really well done. Some of these things where I thought like it's probably kind of expensive to replace and put these things up there, especially that one on Astro Orbiter. I felt like would have kind of taken a lot of people to make happen. So it's cool they did that.
What a fun job.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like
you're
figure
the
out
one to
where to
decide.
hide. Yeah, I'm going to design all these little places to hide. I wonder how many they came up with that they didn't use.
Yeah, I bet there's some good ones out there.
Remember that was also the tree topper that year.
Oh, that's true.
Another 50, yeah. It's the all gold and ornaments Christmas tree.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was very simple. It was nice, but someone had an easy year, I think. It's like,
Like,
oh.
bring out the gold, baby.
And then you want to move on to the happiest faces on Earth they did?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So they had 30 collages featuring photos submitted by guests. So they had these throughout the park, and they were kind of cool. They were these collages that were just I'm sure people have seen these before, but it's just a bunch of photos of random things all coming together to make up one bigger image.
I thought it was interesting. I do not remember this. I mean, I kind of remember it, but so it's kind of between the summer and fall of 2004 is when they were requesting pictures from people, and you could do it online, which I'm sure was a challenge for some people at that point.
Yeah.
You could mail them in, but then they also had special mailboxes in the parks that you could drop your pictures off in.
Right.
So I was like trying to find pictures of them because I couldn't like remember what they look like. I could not find any pictures, but yeah, you could drop them off in the park. Can you just imagine?
That seems so archaic right now.
Now you're like, oh, I have to get this picture printed and put it in something.
Or send it somewhere.
Yeah, send it. Ooh.
I have to buy stamps.
Yeah, and then after, once they debuted these, they did have kiosks throughout the park or in a couple of different spots where you could go up, put in your information, and they would print out a little sheet for you so you could find where your pictures were. I do feel bad for those that were in some of the locations, like
yes,
top
like the
corner.
Buzz one, or there was one that was above Buzz Lightyear. It was a picture of Buzz, but it was so high up you would never see your picture in that. Like you would never see your picture.
Let's talk about some of these. So there's one on here that I didn't even know. I don't know how I don't remember it because it's like the biggest one, the one above Tomorrowland Terrace or Club Buzz at the time. There's a giant, basically painting or photo of the Nautilus above the food windows, and I just don't remember.
I don't remember that
all the
either.
way across that big wall that just doesn't
Did
fit
that
in
really
anymore.
happen?
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to DisneyGeek.com. It's somebody that's been a mainstay in the community
for so long.
And if you need to find some photos from a certain time period, you can just go on there. They usually have probably what you're looking for. So you do have to, old school way of having 3 to 5 photos per page.
but so detailed, so good. I use that to like jog my memory about the hidden 50s. To like, I was like, I think there was one on the Observatron. I had to like go through and find it, but it was there.
Yeah. So we had Mickey with Walt in front of the castle that was inside the entry of the Opera House. They had a Lady and the Tramp one at the Plaza Pavilion. They had Aladdin's Oasis, which is now Tropical Hideaway. They had a magic carpet holding up a photo of the genie. In the middle of Adventureland, there was a Lion King shot. Near the exit of Tarzan's treehouse, there was near the small little creek or kind of a waterfall. There's the Jungle Book. French Market had Fantasmic. Haunted Mansion had Hitchhiking Ghosts. They had Winnie the Pooh hanging onto a balloon in Critter Country. Golden Horseshoe had Woody and Jesse out front. They had the backside of Sleeping Beauty Castle had Maleficent. They had inside the walkway through the castle, there was the dragon from Sleeping Beauty and Sleeping Beauty being kissed by Prince Philip. Teacups had a giant looking glass, kind of where one of the areas to watch people on the ride is, but it was a giant looking glass with Alice in it. Small World Mall, where the old light magic towers are, there was a bunch of them there too. Small World, there was a mural of the children of like a Mary Blair mural in front too. Fantasyland Theater had them. Toontown had a couple. Stitch was at Red Rocket's Pizza Port.
Matt's favorite.
DCA even had some, but the best one.
Was it?
The best one was that first mosaic by, I think it's now the Livery. It's that backstage breezeway behind Main Street, but they had a giant
cast
one.
Member, right?
It was for all cast members, and it was really it was cast member photos making up a giant Steamboat Mickey, and these these photos made up bigger photos of cast members, portraits, if you will, which then end up making up the bigger picture of Steamboat Mickey. One of those photos was yours truly.
Yeah, unfair. I was working there too, and I wasn't in that one.
He wasn't one of the tiny ones.
No, he was a big
one of the big
he was a big head.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of them were Fantasyland cast members. So it's like they just decided to go through, okay, I'm going to go get a bunch of cast members from Fantasyland and take their photo.
It's close.
Yeah.
I'll go there.
But I thought that was really cool that they did that, and it was nice for the cast members.
Matt and I were in 2.
I know one of them for sure was it was Alice, right?
Alice, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the other one was over by the Haunted Mansion.
It was either the Mansion one or it was Fantasmic.
Or Fantasmic, yes. I think maybe you're right. Maybe Fantasmic. The thing that I thought was so interesting about these murals, like I feel like now you would just pop this in some software and like it would do it yourself, you know? But these were actually done by a Californian artist named Roy Fennison. Yes, his name is Roy Fennison. He was a South African-born software engineer author and artist.
But it's still a computer that put it all together, right?
He's
His
a software
program?
engineer, so maybe it's his. But
Yeah.
but now you could just buy it. But he literally took it and created all these images with all those photos. They actually went to an outside artist to do it.
That's very cool.
It's
Yeah,
really
I
innovative
didn't
for
realize
its
they did so
time.
many.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot that they did. I mean, it's weird that so many of them were high that you would never be able to see
Yeah.
them. But
Well, and I must say though, yeah, I did feel. I mean, Joel was kind of a celebrity at the moment, having his photo up.
Please don't stop.
And it was super exciting to run up to the mural and take a photo next to Joel's photo on the mural. You know, I just thought it was the coolest thing, and I'm just like kind of geeking out right now. But yeah, I thought that was. I don't. And sorry to Beth and Matt, but I don't remember.
wow,
Your photo.
he literally posted it in group chat the other day. You do not remember
I
2 days
just
ago?
sent it to you like 2 days ago, dude.
I'll have to take a look.
And then
at
I had
that.
to explain it to Joel twice.
I was busy, okay? Well, hey, we're getting through this, but before we touch upon a couple more items, let's take a break, shall we? And grab another beverage.
50 years ago, we dedicated a place to all the castle gazers and elephant pilots, to all princesses in training and unofficial mouseketeers, to all the parents who remember and all the kids who are just finding out, to all who ever dreamed of space or that magic could be a place.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Join us now for a celebration big enough to hold 50 years of magic. Walt Disney World.
All right, well, welcome back. Do you guys want to see what else was going on the Showtimes guide?
Yes,
2005?
what's happening on the Showtimes guide?
Let's start with
2005.
July 17th, 2005.
Was Billy Hill playing?
Oh, you know he was.
Mm,
And the Hillbillies.
all of them.
Of course, we had, Remember Dreams Come True, Parade of Dreams, Fantasmic. You had Snow White and Enchanting Musical still going on. You had the Aladdin and Jasmine Storytell adventures over at Adventureland, or at the Aladdin's Oasis. And then Billy Hill, of course. Club Buzz, DJs and bands. You had Papa Do Run Run.
The classic Papa Do Run
You
Run.
know.
Loved him or her. And then and then they had some DJs at that time. Dapper Dan's, of course. Laughing Stock Company was still around. Side Street Strutters, New Orleans Square. Royal Street Bachelors. The Delta Daddios.
Wait, what are the Royal Street Bachelors?
I think they may still be around, aren't they? But either way, they were a talented trio. Serves up New Orleans jazz the way you like it.
The jazz band. Okay.
The way
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, just
One,
you.
2, 3. Wait, what was that? 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then they had the Delta Daddios, which I don't remember these guys.
Did they play on the raft?
Be sure to catch the cool, smooth sounds of your very own vocal virtuosos. I don't know. Then you had Farley, the fiddler. Old Farley.
Oh, Farley. What a guy.
Yeah. And so there's some of the items that are going on in Disneyland. I wanted to just look through this other one from, there's a few more other items that I thought were fun. From California Adventure in November of 2005. You had Drawn to the Magic was going on.
That's so good.
We loved that. There's another one I saw, Duh, was still happening.
That was so good. We'll have to have a whole episode on that. Probably not a whole episode, but
Oh, here we go. Duh. August in 2005. Department of Untapped Hilarity.
so
good
good. Where are
stuff.
those guys now?
Who
And
knows?
ladies. There's ladies
Yeah.
too. It's good group.
So, fun fact, Delta Daddios was an a cappella doo-wop group that performed in Hollywood Pictures backlot
Why were
in
they in
front of the animation.
Disneyland? What were they doing in Disneyland?
Then you had the Magic of Brother Bear Totem Ceremony was happening.
Oh, is that at
Redwood
in,
Creek Challenge
Redwood
Trail.
Creek? Okay.
You had the Ugly Bug Ball.
That was going forever. Was that?
That was, yeah.
It was pretty ugly.
Over at Golden State, A Bug's Land stage. You had the Wave Riders. Rock out to surf music, Disney style. I forgot about these guys. the Minor 49ers.
Oh yeah,
Remember them?
They used to play
They
over
used to like
by Grizzly, right? But in that area, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes they had members from Billy Hill over there.
They did. Because they had the bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
And
stuff.
then good old Mariachi Divas. Nothing new there. I did want to point out...
Shout out to the Mariachi Divas. Love them.
Love them.
I did want to point out over in Disneyland, the Fab Four was playing a couple nights, which they were just a Beatles cover band, but they're really popular now. They have a show in Vegas, or they did have one for a long time. So it's kind of cool that they were just playing at Disneyland. I think it was before they were popular, but I thought that was fun to go through memory lane there.
Let me just say too, I was looking for a specific picture or something, and I didn't find it, but I found something else that I completely forgot about. Remember at the same time as all this was going, remember Virtual Magic Kingdom was in its prime.
I never really got into that, but I do remember
I loved that. I remember I used to go around the park and collect all the cards. I think I even got to do the tour the one time where they took us around. We had to answer questions, and then we got
Did
to
you
know,
pick it when they closed it?
What?
You don't. When they closed VMK, there were people who were so mad they came out to pick
no.
it.
I was like,
pick it.
what?
Oh.
Yeah, pick it. I was like, what did I...
protest. Okay.
I'm like, what did he select?
Yeah, I was like,
Did you pick it?
I'm like, did something happen at the end of this tour that I don't remember? But I know I did the tour. I think you were with me.
I think we should talk about Parade of Dreams also real quick,
Yes, we should.
just because it was a pretty awesome, pretty big too, parade that didn't last too long, but obviously longer than the actual celebration, like most things do now with their parades. But Parade of Dreams, it had 8 floats. It included Gateway to Dreams, which was Peter Pan inside of a golden train with Tinkerbell. This was like the beginning float.
And they usually have the other fairies too. The 3 fairies from Beauty and the Beast. Or sorry, no.
Sleeping
3
Beauty.
fairies for Sleeping Beauty. I was like one of those beauties. Yes, it had the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty. And sometimes, if they didn't have enough people, Merlin would come out and he would dance in it as well.
Nice. The next float, you had the Dream of Enchantment, which is Beauty and the Beast unit. We had Belle and Beast dance, and an audio animatronic of Lumiere sings. This was Jerry Orbach's last time supplying the voice for Lumiere, because he died, unfortunately, in December of 2004, after he recorded the dialogue for the parade. Dream of Laughter was the next one, which is the Pinocchio unit.
One of my favorites.
That was a good unit, yeah.
The thing I loved about this parade is that so many of the floats had these really interactive elements. So like in this one, they had the barmaid and the can girl. So they had a big Geppetto was part of the float itself. And they had kind of bungee, I guess, attached to them. So when they would dance, it would look like Geppetto was controlling them. And then in the back, they had the Russian dancers that had the really bouncy bungee cords. So they would like jump and flip. And it was just really cool to see all these interactive elements. And Fantasmic, that's always been one of my favorite parts, is the Pinocchio part where it comes up and the girls shake their boobs, you know? I like
gone.
that. Yeah, it's gone, but you have to like bring that up to me and rub my face in it. What a jerk. But I always love that part. It just, I don't know. It was a fun part. So to see it here and like with actual dancers and actual people, it was really cool to see those interactive elements that were on the floats itself.
Yeah, it was. And then you had the Dream of Another World. This is the Little Mermaid float. And Ariel sits on top of a giant fountain made of clamshells.
And it had actual water in it for a long time, which was really cool. And the girls who like dance with the pearls were also one of my favorites. I loved that.
I always loved it because they did drop them every so often, and they would drop them, but they're like just rubber, and but I would be, oh no, and they're like, oh, it kind of bounces.
It's bounces up.
With the Pinocchio float too, how you were saying the interactive elements, because remember like how the show stops and stuff. Mm-hmm. Remember the tower would actually like telescope.
Oh yeah,
it would get taller. It would get taller because then they were actually hanging and they were like bouncing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, but you're right. Yeah,
it was really impressive. I mean, even if they are too afraid to do show stops anymore for crowd control and other reasons, I still wish they would still go all out with some of these floats. I did think they had really impressive floats for this
They were really cool. They had really interesting,
and they were really large compared to some newer ones. That I get why they need to keep them small, but it was cool.
I wanted to say about the Ariel float is they also had the Ursula float that followed right after.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very reminiscent of the Ursula that is in the Little Mermaid attraction. It kind of moves the same way. It's kind of big and inflatable like that.
Yeah.
And they had they also had pearl girls that danced, but with their like black pearls because they were evil.
I actually thought it reminded me a lot of the old Ursula
from Miss Fantasmic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could see that as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this was followed by the Dream of Imagination float, which was Alice in Wonderland unit. This carried live-action Mad Hatter and Alice, and a giant animatronic of Caterpillar sits on the back of the unit atop of a mushroom. And the cards climb atop the trampoline. It was a big trampoline in the middle, which is basically the table.
That was a big interactive element. It looked like the big tea party table.
Yeah, and they would do acrobatics on it.
Yeah, it had all the lanterns from the Mad Tea Party ride, and they would do acrobatics, and then usually they had Alice and the Mad Hatter on there as well. And then they would Tweedledee and Tweedledum would kind of run around in like stylized teacups, basically that looked like the teacups attraction, which was really cool.
Yeah, that was followed by the Dream of Adventure float, which was a Lion King unit. And this had Simba atop Pride Rock with Zazu, Pumbaa sleeping in a hammock, a live-action Timon, Rafiki, and Nala.
And this one had water feature on it as well.
It did. Mm-hmm.
And it's very much like if you've ever seen Festival of Lion King, because it's very reminiscent of that whole thing. It had the birds, the women in bird costumes, swinging on a rope, and it had a lot of elements that were really reminiscent of Festival of Lion King
as well.
I think the tree in the back.
I think it did. Yeah, I think the tree at the back where they were swinging did.
I was just really impressed by his roar every time he roared, like feeling it. I don't know what they did to make him sound so impressive, but I just always enjoyed that moment where he's on, Pride Rock and they paused to hear him roar.
He did a lot of training.
He's been working on it. He's been working on his roar.
and that ended with the Dreams Come True finale unit, which of course had Mickey and Minnie. They were the king and queen on Sleeping Beauty Castle.
It had all the dwarves, and then all of the princesses as well were kind of like leading up to Mickey and Minnie up there. And
yeah.
And nice. I feel like that float has been reused
so many times.
Because I think now it's like a Halloween float.
Used it for a lot. Of course, I do have to add in the Show Stop song that they used, which was an upbeat version of Welcome from Disney's Brother Bear, composed by Phil Collins, and this one was performed by Jump 5.
I know that it was so good. I was going to say, I know Brother Bear is kind of like a forgotten cartoon. Like, no one ever talks about it. It's never brought up. It was kind of, it was beautiful. Like, it had a lot of beautiful elements to it.
It is a beautiful film, and the backgrounds or whatever on it, the cells are beautiful.
And they're beautiful, but it just kind of gets forgotten. But this song was so good. It was good in the movie, and this remake of it was so good.
The beat drops,
it was the perfect song for this parade. Like, honestly, it was so good. It was the perfect, like, the whole welcome home type vibe that they were going for. We didn't really talk about this, but when you walked in on July 17th, the morning that you walked in, they had cast members lining the streets with a big Mickey glove, like waving everyone in, saying, welcome home, welcome home. Like, they really like played on that, but like not in a good way. Like, it felt good. It felt natural.
Thinking about how we'll see that again someday.
I know.
Because that's what they're going to do.
They're going to. It really...
Tearing up just thinking about it.
It really felt like they were thanking the fans and thanking the people who have been there for so long, thanking the cast members who had, worked so hard to make all this magic. And it's so sad that, so many cast members have been laid off during this time period. But it really felt like not only was everyone thanking, thank you guests for coming, but thank you for working here, and thank you for making the magic, and thank you annual pass holders. Like, it felt genuine at that point in time. It felt so real to be welcomed into this place where we've spent all these years together, and like us growing all our relationships and friendships and all that in this place. It felt genuine.
Well said. And then, of course, this ended up closing just before the holidays at Disneyland in 2008. So it did go a couple years beyond the celebration.
I could not remember what year it actually ended.
Yeah.
It just seemed kind of to fold right into your million dreams. Just kind of
it
blended together.
Just ended. I was like, okay.
But I mean, at that point, we were done. We're like, okay, it's over.
Yeah. Got to move on. We're ready to move on just from the year of a million dreams in general. So it's time to go. And then let's do our little kiss goodnight. We got to end with Remember Dreams Come True, fireworks spectacular, commemorating the 50th anniversary of the park. It was described as the e-ticket in the sky.
Presente por Honda.
Are you ready to wish upon a star? Then it's time to open your heart and remember, dreams come true.
Starlight.
We've discussed this before when we talked about kind of our nighttime spectacular favorites. This is my favorite fireworks show. Just a lot of it because of all the memories that are attached to it. Seeing it for the first time as a cast member with nobody else on Main Street, just kind of getting to experience that. And the fact that you literally took a grand circle tour around the whole park to hear all your favorite attractions, just little pieces. I know it's not like now it's not the most technologically impressive show, but it's still my favorite show. And
it's a great show.
It is.
I know Matt gives you a hard time about it, and it's not my favorite, but it's a good show.
I loved that show.
I think to like it.
Used to.
But do you not still like it? Like, even if it's not your favorite, you still enjoy it, right?
I'll watch it, but it's not like I'm not gonna.
No, you won't. It's gone. You'll never see it again.
They didn't say it was gone. It could come back.
It might come back. They didn't go away forever.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel because of like the whole nostalgia aspect of it, it was such a culmination of what they were trying to go for as a celebration of the park. And
for the 50th, I agree. For the 50th, they really they went all in on that nostalgia.
Well, this was a 17-minute long show too.
Yeah, it was.
The original.
I mean, yeah, the original was good length. It had the fireworks in the round for the Haunted Mansion, which was kind of like new
First time they did
for that time. Yeah. I remember sitting backstage while they did those, and it was just it was so loud, and the sky just lit up green. It was just, I don't know, it was really cool.
Every time the Haunted Mansion stretching scene, sorry, Matt.
Oh yeah, that was
But every time the Haunted Mansion scene, you would have the whole crowd just go,
whoa. Yeah, they would just cheer. It was at that time, it was so amazing and so unique. And because Disneyland is so small, it felt so intimate and but at the same time so big and grand because it was so small.
And I will say too, the timing of the whole, and sorry, did I cut you off, Matt?
Well, now all three of us have cut off Matt. So.
He doesn't need to talk.
Well, I was just gonna say, the whole timing of the anniversary, I think, was such a carefree time in all of our lives. So, so much enjoyment from the days at Disneyland. Ending the night with that fireworks show, I think, was really such a happy time for me.
Was it?
Which is it? Yeah.
Was it now?
Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know, I'm just being a dick now since I can get a word in.
You can speak now, Matt.
Thank you, Derek. I don't hate the show. I love the Disneyland segment, the middle portion. My biggest gripe was we did everything so big and grand for the 50th. I was really just upset that, we got a really cool middle section, but all we got was we bookended it with a rehash. And I was like,
that's fair.
The 50th should have been something where we got an original theme song, all this kind of stuff, but it was Wishes featuring Disney.
That's fair. Yeah, the
tickets in the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
The end song was Wishes. They should have ended it with Remember When. Why not end it with Remember When?
And that was my biggest gripe with it. I'm I thought the show was it's amazing what's going on. It was just I like Wishes, but I don't think Wishes was that great. And so that's why I kind of was like, we kind of used like a...
That's a fair statement.
That's why I have that's why I loved Disneyland forever for the 60th, because for the 60th, we got an original theme song. It was this inspiring, like, huge theme. You know, it had the music after the show. And I was like, that's something we should have gotten for the 50th, but instead we got Wishes for the 50th.
That is fair. I will say that I was not paying a ton of attention to Walt Disney World at that time. So while I knew that Wishes existed, I didn't like really go and seek out to like watch it, because I had not been there since like 2000 or 2001. So I hadn't gone out to watch anything on YouTube or anything. So for me, I wasn't really, even though I knew it originated in Disney World, I didn't really associate it with Disney World because I hadn't seen it in person or anything like that. So I totally get that. That is a valid point that they kind of reused and rehashed that song.
I get that too, and I agree. Like, that's totally fair. It should have been an original for the 50th. But I almost feel as if Wishes made more sense in Remember versus the original show at Disney World, because I did do a comparison, and for whatever reason, it felt more compelling in the way that they fit it into our show at Disneyland versus Disney World's for whatever reason. And I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but it just seemed to come off that way.
Your bias is correct.
It didn't make any sense at all. Why?
They should have used Remember the Magic. They had a song with Remember in it.
Yeah. The tough part with me is, like, I was already familiar with Wishes. It's bookend by Wishes. It goes on for a long time before E-Tickets in the Sky portion starts. And I'm like, wait, why are we doing so much of Wishes? We're talking about wishing for things, but it's not the theme of the 50th in any way.
Yeah,
so that's why I was like, it didn't really jive well with me.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, I agree with you.
Since we're already running long, let's go into a little bit of Remember Dreams Come True. This did run from off and on all the way up through the 2018 holiday season. So that's 13 years it was off and on with the park, and it may still come back. And
we can only hope.
We shall see. But
you're gonna cry if the park reopens with this, and they're like, "Remember," you're gonna cry.
Oh no, I'll be all for seeing it again.
I'm gonna record it.
Yeah. Anyway,
and your reaction.
This had Julie Andrews was, of course, the narrator, but it begins with her talking about 50 years ago, and later on it's talking about 50 years later, but talking about how this is your park and everything. It was really cool.
The part was so good. Like,
I believed her.
Yes, I did too. I felt that she was talking to me.
Yeah.
No, me.
It's a 3D show. So, of course, after the 50th anniversary, they had to do something. They probably recorded this at the time when she first went in there, but she then says they replaced 50 years ago with in 1955, and then 50 years later they replaced with today. Because you couldn't really put a time frame on it anymore. But it was fantastic. And of course, as we talked about, it opened up with Wishes, exactly to the T of kind of how it went in Magic Kingdom. And then it diverted or switched over into the segment we're calling E-Ticket in the Sky. And this is where it went through really around the park. You get on the train, take the Disneyland Railroad, and you go Grand Circle tour around the park.
And it's so cool because they use audio from the different attractions, some
and
that are current
audio.
and old old attractions that are no longer there. So I think that's something that I really enjoyed, was just kind of hearing those old like little clips of audio. And they had like the laser beams, and I don't know.
And I really think I'm
good.
I'm going to add this in kind of just for myself, because I doubt there's that many people listening to this at this point. But there's nothing better than this moment right here.
Star Tours announces the boarding of the Endor Express. All passengers, please prepare for immediate boarding.
And then, of course, over the years, it did end up getting downsized a little bit. Not greatly, but it did have a few items taken away from it. They did remove the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad segment, which, why that segment? I don't know. I really liked it. But they did remove that in 2009. And then in 2017, it did return with a lot of new effects, and I was actually kind of impressed with how much they did to it. But they already had these new this new technology already in place from Disneyland Forever, so they kind of incorporated those items like projection mapping and lasers, additional ones than what they had before, along with, there's 100 searchlights now that are all throughout the park that they've been using in other fireworks shows. They added, of course, more effects and projections on Matterhorn bobsleds, and they were really utilizing the Phantasmic water screens over in Rivers of America. And they started doing that with all their shows now, but they've added a lot to remember, and hopefully it does return.
Thank you.
I just want to say, I think, we've described kind of the whole array of different things that had happened, and I just really appreciated the way that they integrated all of these different elements to the celebration. It really did feel like a celebration, like we said earlier, that it felt pretty organic, like everyone was involved, it felt sincere. And I know it kind of had to be, like there was such big expectation for it being the 50th for the original park. And so everyone had high hopes, and I think it really delivered. And just the fact that there were so many different ways to remind you that you were celebrating their anniversary was really special to me. And I just really appreciated all those different touches that went into it. It was like a really great time in my life, being able to celebrate with, you guys and all of our friends.
Yeah, and I think that the 50th was such a big milestone. I know that we've had the 60th anniversary, and I'm sure they'll do the 65th and the 70th, but I feel like the next big one won't really be until the 75th. I feel like that's kind of like the next huge milestone.
We're not doing the 65th because that just went.
Yeah, that's true.
we celebrated the 65th
by staying home. Yeah, but I don't know. It felt so special. And like Derek said, getting to we've all been friends for so long, and getting to share that moment and that time period with you guys was such a special time. And it I don't know, it carries on through all these times. I know once we can actually get back to the parks again, it's going to be, such a special time. But just thinking back and knowing that we got to spend those 18 months together as just enjoying the parks and celebrating something that we truly cherish, that has been around for such a long time and is just truly a mainstay in our lives, was really, really special.
Yeah. And hopefully, you listeners got to experience this as well, and you had these memories, and hey, let's continue to remember when, right? And we do hope that, moving forward here, we're going to try to do stuff on the 45th and 40th and moving backwards, as I'm sure each one will take a little bit more research as we get back into
we weren't around for all of those.
The 20th anniversary, I don't have a lot to say about the 20th anniversary, but I think the 10th has that great cake. The dancing cake in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle, so we'll bring that one up.
I can just hear the song.
But no, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys coming on here and letting us reminisce about the 50th anniversary. But this was fun.
Thank you, guys. Everyone.
Well, everybody, until our next happy hour, when you aren't able to join us off harbor in Maine, please find us online.
You can always find our handle on Twitter and Instagram. It's simply @OffHarbor. Our personal handles are also available under the show notes. Also, drop us a line at podcast@offharborinmaine.com. And as always, please don't hesitate to leave a rating or a review, as these truly go a very long way in bringing visibility to the show.
Regardless, thank you all so much for listening. We truly do appreciate it. And remember, we have the strength. We can change the world together, build a stairway to the stars we can climb.
Anything can be done with just one dream.
So, on behalf of the birdies, the flowers, and the tikis here at Off Harbor in Maine,
farewell and aloha to you.
Stay well, and cheers.
Cheers!
Remember
Are you correcting my notes here? Did I spell it wrong or something?
You're muted, Matthew.
You're muted.
I said he said it weird.
Christina Aguilera.
Aguilera.
It actually did say Aguilar.
Yeah, it's an Aguilar. And I couldn't remember how to like spell her actual name.
Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
Lera.
Is it?
Christina Aguilera.
Aguilera. Yeah, because
everything sounds weird.
Aguilera?
Aguilera?
Augie.
I'm not going to correct it. I'm going
Christina
to say it
Aguilera.
white. And it's fine.
Aguilera.
You want me to re-say it?
No.
Aguilera.
Aqua. Oh, damn it. Now I'm messing up the whole notes. I love everything about Julie Andrews. But with that one exception is not even Julie Andrews can get me to watch Bridgerton.
She's in that?
What?
It's
so good.
She's a voice.
In it, yeah. She's not really.
A voice.
Yeah.
She narrates some stuff.
Well, we'll have our Bridgerton episode later when Joel and I discuss the finer points.
Yeah.
I think we had them for breakfast.
But so wearing our ears, was this 50th?
Yeah, the
That's
17th.
July?
Yes.
Oh.
July 17th, 2005.
Oh, I didn't know we switched
But
over.
this event this is from May 5th.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering why we're...
This is the May 5th ceremony.
Then what happened on...
Yes, this is the May 5th ceremony.
This was too long ago.
Then what happened on the 17th? What did they do on the 17th? They did something.
Well, we're going to talk about it. The cupcakes were July.
They were in July, but that's just it. I'm like, I don't remember which damn event happened on which goddamn day anymore. I mean, this is the same fucking event that they turned a goddamn year into 18 months.
This is, I mean, keep it, so July 17th.
Wait till we
they
talk
also
about
had,
Year of Million Dreams.
There was near the exit of Tarzan's treehouse, the small waterfall. French Market had Fantasmic. Haunted Mansion had hitchhiking. Haunted Mansion had hitchhiking ghosts. There was Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my god! How many of those?
I'm just tired. Okay.
Drinks did you have before this?
It was Oswald, or what was his
Oswald?
name? No, Waldo.
Waldo. Like Walt Disney? Who are you talking about? It's me, Waldo, the spirit of 3D.
Worst character ever created by Disney.
It's true.